We're talking Wildcats, and in my opinion, the consensus for this one is the headline for the Kansas State Wildcats would be, for me, too much hype? ? That doesn't mean that I'm saying the answer to that is no, but let's go ahead and get into it. So Kansas State, Chris Kleiman back for his 6th season as head coach. Program just seems to keep getting better under his tenure. Last season was great. Another great season, 9-4, finishing ranked in the top 25. He did lose his OC, who's been with the program for a while. He's been with Kansas State during Chris Kleiman's entire tenure there. He's gone. He's at Texas A&M with Mike Elko now. I'm not sure how significant of a loss that is. But certainly, you got a Kansas State team that's been powered by its offense for years. Losing its offensive coordinator, it's definitely worth at least discussing. But I mean, Chris Kleiman is the guy who runs the offense. Amazing. So, I don't know. Who knows how big of a loss that is, losing the OC. So they did lose their offensive coordinator. Connor Riley takes over as OC. He's been the offensive line coach there for years, so I'm not even sure how much of a change that is. I wish I knew more about these guys. It doesn't seem like there's much of a change. There's a new OC, but it's the guy who's been the O-line coach there for years. Returning production may be a concern, especially on offense. And this is where I'm saying, this team, it's not like Chris Kleiman's had a successful tenure there. We all respect this Kansas State program, but it's not like we're always like, oh, that Kansas State defense. It's a one-sided team. It's been powered by its offense for years. So you lose the OC. Just 4 returning starters on the offense. I think there's at least a discussion about some concern here. The quarterback is gone. Will Howard's with Ohio State now, as I'm sure you guys already know. They like their guy, though. People are big on this kid, Avery Johnson.
People aren't just big on him. They love this kid.
They love him.
He's gotten... I've seen him on lists that I don't think Kansas State quarterbacks have ever been on. I think Will Howard's was really good for them, but they were ready to move on at this point. I think he was too. But Avery Johnson has gotten hype to depths I've never seen before. So yeah, they love him.
Yeah. So yeah, Avery Johnson takes over as the quarterback, and really good athlete. In the Pop-Tarts Bowl, he played well, 178 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also rushed for 71 yards and a touchdown. This kid's got the talent, no question, high ceiling. But personally, I'm not going to go throw down money on this kid playing at a Heisman Trophy level. I don't know. A little bit unproven, I'd say. So you got the OC gone, new quarterback, just 4 returning starters on the offense. Now the running back is back. Giddens, he's back, over 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns last year. So he's back. That's huge. They lost their RB2, but they actually brought in Dylan Edwards from Coach Prime.
That was a great pickup.
That was a great
pickup.
Yeah, so Kansas State is going to have probably the best 2-back combination in the Big 12.
In the Big 12, yeah, definitely. I thought Dylan Edwards was one of the most sneaky pickups because statistically, you don't look at him and he's crazy. He had about 400 yards last year. That's Colorado doesn't really run the ball. They were letting Shedeur sling it down the field every single play. Plus, they were also trailing for most of the second half of the season. So they weren't really running the ball. But he is a sneaky, really good pickup. So this is a really good
I also really like him in that role as the RB2, third down, catching out of the backfield because him in open field is crazy.
Yeah.
So, Kansas State... Yeah, we expressed concerns about the offensive coordinator and the quarterback as far as unproven, but they're going to have the best 2-back system in the Big 12.
Definitely.
Giddens is a beast, and then they had Dylan Edwards, who's just electric playmaker. Yeah. So 2 very good running backs here at Kansas State. As far as the receivers, they lost their star tight end. He's with the Commanders now. He's actually a 2nd-round pick. I didn't realize he went that high.
Yeah.
You knew that?
Yeah, he was a pretty good player in college.
So their tight end went in the 2nd round of the NFL draft. So their star tight end's gone. He led the team in both yards and touchdowns receiving last year. Huge loss, no doubt. They also lost their wide receiver 1, Phillip Brooks. He's on the Chiefs. So they lost both their top 2 receiving weapons to the NFL. They do have a talented group coming back. They also brought in a kid from Penn State. Cephas is his name.
Kent State. And actually, there's a connection here.
Kent State.
No, it was Kent. And there's a connection. He comes in.
No, okay. He was at Penn State first, I think.
Okay, yeah. But he was at Kent State because he played
now
with...
I need to see it.
Okay. But this is what Phil still wrote. This is a connection because he reunites with an offensive coordinator he had at Kent State.
So he was okay.
The wide receivers coach. I'm sorry.
All right, so we're both right here.
Yeah, he played for both.
That's crazy. All right, so he was with Kent State for 4 years, and one of those years in 2021, the year you're talking about, he had 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns.
Yes.
Last year he was with Penn State.
Yeah.
So we were both right. Actually, that's crazy.
He's reuniting with the wide receivers coach here at Kansas State was his OC there or a wide receiver coach there. So yeah, that's a little bit of familiarity. Jesus.
Familiarity?
Yeah, there you go. I can't say it. What the heck?
Man.
Jesus.
All right. So they got the receivers. They lost their 2 main receivers, but they should be pretty talented in that group. Here's where it just gets. I'm concerned about this offense. The offensive line's gutted.
Yeah.
4 starters gone, including Cooper Beebe, who I believe was an All-American last year. So they lost their 4 of their 5 starting offensive linemen. One of them, the best piece they had. Look, it's Kansas State. It's not like they're going to have a bad offensive line. It's definitely concerning. Remember, this is a program that's been powered by its offense for years. They don't win games by making stops. They win games by putting up 45 points. So I have a lot of questions about this offense. At least I have questions in terms of holding them to Kansas State standards. It's not like I'm saying, Kansas State's offense isn't going to win 7 games. I'm saying Kansas State is expected to be competing for the Big 12 championship, flirting with double-digit wins. And it's a team that's powered by its offense. So I'm certainly concerned that I have some questions about the offense, and there's a lot of a lot of unproven aspects of it.
Yeah, I tend to believe that, this team runs at a pretty good frequency anyway. They're 45th in run frequency. I think that's only going to get more. They're only going to run it more now that Avery Johnson can kind of run pretty well. Will Howard wasn't exactly that. I think the offense is going to change from that standpoint. And I think if everything goes perfectly, this offense will still be really good. The O-line, they'll gel together. I trust the coaching staff, but this is the type of offense that can't really take one injury. They can't afford, Avery Johnson to not be a star. I think they're pretty much banking on things that we wouldn't usually see. So I'm with you. I think it's more of a question than people are just assuming, like you said, it's a Kleiman team. They're going to be a crazy offensive team, and we don't have to worry about that. But with a young quarterback, you have to worry about those things, and that's something I'm definitely a little bit more worried about the offense than I usually would be.
Right. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The Kansas State defense, which is always the weakness of the team, it's not looking too bad. 3 of the top 4 back on the defensive line. Linebackers look okay. Secondary is apparently in really good shape. I'm pretty sure they only lost 1 starter in the secondary. So hear me out. The defense, they bring a lot of production back, a lot of starters back. So the offense, I think, takes a step back. The defense takes a step up. And it's not just that. Look at the way the team's built this year compared to in years past with Will Howard. You got a quarterback that can run the ball. Your 2 best players on the offensive side of the ball are running backs, or your 2 best playmakers, let's say.
Yep.
Tell me this isn't going to slowly transform into a run-first team.
100%.
Because they could trust their defense a little bit more, which means instead of seeing those game totals at 68.5 for Kansas State games, we might see 58.5.
Yeah.
Maybe play some Kansas State unders early in the season.
I think it's rare, but I think it's like Kleiman, who's a veteran now. He's kind of changed the way that this team's going to play. They are going to be a completely different team, try to control games a little bit more because they can trust their defense. Their defense isn't going to pressure quarterbacks much. They weren't really a good team at getting pressure there, but they were pretty good at their run defense, and they're only going to be better, I think. So, yeah, I like this defense more than I think I ever have for a Kansas State defense. So.
Yeah. So let's play the win-loss game.
Oh, boy. We go.
The moment of truth.
I don't have theirs written down. I don't remember who they play. I usually remember pieces of schedule. I don't remember who this team plays.
They play Iowa State.
Yeah, they're in the conference with them.
No, I was making a joke. They play them every year.
Yeah, that's why I said that. They start with UT Martin. That's right.
Heater to start the season. UT Martin. All right, so obviously win at Tulane. Win.
Weird one that's at Tulane. That Arizona one's going to be a great game.
Week 3's a scorcher, bro.
I think we gave Arizona the loss the other day, so I think to be we have to kind of give
Kansas State here.
I would take them in those
You're bigger on Arizona than I am.
Yeah, I'm huge on Arizona, and I still think K-State's going to win that game because, like we said, Kansas State had a pretty good pass defense last year, too, and returning a lot of those guys, Fafita's not going to be able to throw maybe as much as he want to there, so Yeah, I think I'd side
And
K
is
State
Arizona
in
going
that
to be
one.
able to stop these two backs?
Probably not. No. So yeah, I think
That's
that
3-0.
that gives 4-0. Obviously.
4-0.
I think
Yeah, we go.
they're gonna. Ollie
we go.
Gordon may run on this
Gundy.
team a pretty good amount there.
Welcome to Gundyville.
Yeah.
That's a loss, week 5.
Yeah, that's a win. Not even gonna look at it.
Coach Prime?
That's a win. And West
Coming off the
Virginia's
bye
a-
week.
Don't care. They could be coming off 4 bye
Don't care.
weeks. They could be coming off 4 bye weeks. They're still losing this game by 30.
Yeah, you got to give. Honestly, if it wasn't for the bye week, I'd say maybe. But no. Coming off the bye week, that's a win.
Yeah.
At West Virginia.
It's gonna be a tough game, but I'll still side Kansas State. I do think that West Virginia's gonna be better than some people
You're the
expect.
one that was.
I
blowing
really like West
this
Virginia,
whole-
but that doesn't mean I have them going 12-0.
Well, you seem like you got Kansas State going 12-0.
No,
All right, so that's 6-1 home against Kansas.
sneaky one there.
Jesus, that's a loss.
Yeah, I think they lose those. I think they lose that one. They lose the Oklahoma State one, and that Iowa State one at the end of the year. I got them 9-3.
You have under.
Yeah. And I don't think that Arizona game will be super easy, but I'd side Kansas State in that game.
Yeah, I think I'll go under also.
Yeah. Which, I mean, when you're at 9.5 for a team like Kansas State, that's already a little bit of a higher number than they're used to. So that kind of makes sense. I mean, them being a 10-win team, they'd probably be in the playoff. They still might have a shot at the playoff anyway because they could win their conference, I think, with 9-3. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. That Kansas game's going to be a coin flip.
All right, who's next?
This team sucks.
This team.
This team sucks.
Hold on. No, you're wrong about this. I actually have some positive things to say about Cincinnati.
You should say him then.
No, see, I think you're overly confident